Wright's Introduction to Latin Grammar. Grammar is the science which determines the form and use of words. The use of words is to make known what passes in the mind, and the form of words shows their use. The mind receives impressions either through the senses, as of a man, a chair, a noise, a smell, or not directly through the senses, as of virtue, fancy, love. Whatever is thus impressed on the mind, whether directly through the senses or not, is called in grammar an object, because it is thus objected or laid before the mind. In order to speak of these objects, we give them names, which are called in English nouns, from the Latin nomen, name. The noun, therefore, may be defined as the name of anything that can be impressed on the mind. Forming as it does a distinct class of words, it is called a part of speech. The mind, so constituted that no object can be impressed on it, except as having some quality. We see a chair, that is. A chair is impressed on the mind through the eye, but the mind cannot conceive it except as having some quality, being of some sort, large or small, handsome or ugly, heavy or light, and so on. Since then the use of words or speech is to make known what passes in the mind, and since the mind cannot conceive an object except as having some quality, it follows that there must be in speech, beside the noun, which names the object, certain words to express the quality. The adjective is such a word, so called from the Latin adjectus, added, because it is added or joined to the noun. It cannot be used in speech except in connection with a noun, just as a quality cannot exist in nature except in connection with an object. Like the noun, it forms a distinct class of words and is called a part of speech. We have now two parts of speech, and are in a condition to make known what passes in our minds. That is, we can form a sentence. A sentence being words so arranged as to have meaning, or, which is the same thing, so as to express what passes in the mind. Man is good. This is a sentence, for the words are so arranged as to have a meaning. Man is a noun, being the name of an object, which we can see and touch. Good is an adjective, being joined to the noun man, and expressing a quality residing in the object, of which man is the name. The intermediate word is, which simply couples the other two together, like a mark, we will leave for the present. The noun and adjective may be put together differently, as good man. But these words do not make a sentence, for they do not convey any meaning. They merely name an object man and state what sort of man is meant, good man. but they do not affirm anything about it. Again, objects are impressed on the mind as active, as doing something, as performing some action. This indeed is the same thing as to say that objects have an active quality, are of an active sort, and therefore, when speaking of objects as active, we might employ as above the noun and adjective. But the adjective follows the noun in form, and so it follows is not fitted by its form to represent an object as performing an action. Some word is needed, which will represent the object as performing the action at certain times and in certain modes or ways. And such a word is the verb, so called from the Latin verbum, word. The verb is a distinct part of speech, though differing in little else than form from the adjective. Other parts of speech might indeed be called verbs, but this is so called because in a single word it tells so much about the object. Man walks. The noun man names the object, and the verb is a word about it, denoting that it performs a certain action, that of walking. With these parts of speech, the noun, to name the object, and the adjective or verb, to say something about it. We might express, though awkwardly and lamely, all that passes in our minds, but for the convenience of speech, other parts have been added, which we will proceed to consider. All objects having the same name belong to the same class. All objects having the name man belong to the class man. It is convenient then that, in speaking of an object, we should be able to make it clear whether we mean the class or one known object in the class, or any object whatever belonging to the class. For this purpose, we might use an adjective, because we are merely saying what sort of object we mean. But in most languages, this distinction is expressed by a part of speech called an article. In English, there are two articles, the, called the definite article, and an, or a, or a, called the indefinite article. When no article is placed in front of a noun, the class is generally meant. The definite article placed before a noun defines the object named as one known object marked out of the class. The indefinite article placed before a noun simply denotes that the object named belongs to the class. Thus, if we say man walks, we mean that the class man is capable of walking. But if we say the man walks, we mean that one known object belonging to the class man walks. If we say a man walks, we mean that an unknown object, any object whatever, belonging to the class man, walks. In the first sentence, we speak of the class. In the second, we distinguish the object from all other objects belonging to the class. In the last, we distinguish the class to which the object belongs from all other classes. If we frame a sentence out of the parts of speech we have already got, we have the good man walks. But the man may be good in a certain way and may walk in a certain way. The object named by the noun man has certain qualities, goodness and walking, but these qualities may be of different sorts. To express these different sorts of qualities, we might use different sorts of adjectives, as indeed we do in the degrees of comparison. But it is found more convenient to employ for the purpose a distinct part of speech, and this part of speech is called an adverb, because it is joined to a verb, though it is equally correct to join it to an adjective. It is generally formed in English by adding the termination ly to an adjective. Thus, if, in the above sentence, we wish to denote the goodness of the man as uniform and is walking as rapid, we say the uniformly good man walks rapidly. The adverb uniformly denotes the quality of the quality denoted by the adjective good. Rapidly denotes the quality of the quality denoted by the verb walks. We can even join an adverb to an adverb, as the man walks extremely rapidly. We do not generally speak of an object by itself. We generally wish to speak of it in connection with other objects. This connection may be expressed by changes in the form of the noun, as in a great measure it is expressed in Latin. Or it may be expressed by adjectives compounded with nouns, as seasick, homesick, seaworthy, and so on. But in English, it is commonly expressed by a distinct class of words called prepositions. They are so called from the Latin praepositus, placed before, because they are placed before the nouns which name the objects so connected. And thus we may say, the good man walks rapidly along the road from the town to the field, in the rain, under an umbrella, with a dog. The words along, from, to, in, under, with are prepositions, placed before the nouns road, town, etc., and connecting the objects named by these nouns with the object named by the noun man. There remain three parts of speech which may be considered as subsidiary to the former, and these are the pronoun, the conjunction, and the interjection. We use a pronoun which simply means a word used instead of pro, a noun, as I, you, he, in order to avoid the awkwardness of repeating the same noun. We use a conjunction, which means a joining word, as and, or, but, etc., either to join together two sentences or two words in the same sentence. We use an interjection, which means a word cast between others or thrown between others, to denote by a single sound a feeling of the mind or body. Oh, alas, ah, are interjections. Summing up then the parts of speech, or distinct classes of words, with which in English we frame sentences, that is, express our meaning one to another, we find that they are 9 in number, and they may be defined as follows. A noun is the name of an object. An object is anything whatever impressed on the mind, anything that we can see, hear, touch, taste, smell, or think of. An adjective is a word which, joined to a noun, denotes that the object named by it possesses a certain quality. A verb is a word which, joined to a noun, denotes that the object named by it possesses a certain active quality, that is, performs a certain action. An article is a word which denotes the quality of an object in respect of its class. That is, it shows whether an object is one known object in the class or any object whatever belonging to the class. An adverb is a word which, joined to a verb or adjective, denotes the quality of the quality denoted by the verb or adjective. A preposition is a word placed before a noun to connect it with other nouns. A pronoun is a word used instead of a noun. A conjunction is a word which joins together words or sentences. An interjection is a sound expressive of feeling. Having said thus much of language in general, we shall now speak particularly of the Latin language, that is, of the language formerly spoken by the citizens of Rome and spread by them over the whole civilized world. It was called Latin because it was spoken originally not only in Rome, but in all the other cities of Latium. It was, in fact, the proper tongue of the Latin people. Grammar, as was said at the beginning, has to do with the use and form of words. We have therefore, in dealing with Latin grammar, to consider how each part of speech is used in Latin and how its form shows its use. There are in Latin only 8 parts of speech or classes of words, there being no article as in English. The words thus classed are composed of letters, of which there are in Latin 25, being the same as in English without the letter W.